Hello and welcome back to Major League Talk Giants edition. Today is Thursday, June 1st, 2023. My name is Henry, and this is episode 19. We're going to be reviewing the series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So the Giants' 18th series of the season saw them open a homestand with a three-game set against the Pirates, who, after having a red-hot start to their own season, has since come back down to earth, coming into the series at 500. The Giants were looking to keep their own hot streak alive, and game one made it look like it would happen. A 5-run second inning and an 8-run seventh inning powered the Giants to a 14-4 win over the Pirates to open the series. Game two is all about the pitchers and the defense. Both teams used at least 5 pitchers, with the Giants using 6. However, the Pirates would take advantage of a wild pitch and hold off the Giants' offense to win 2-1. Game three was another hard game to watch, as Wood seemed to succumb to his own mistakes, while the Pirates hitters managed to keep finding holes in the infield. The Pirates would win 9-4, breaking Giants' series win streak. The starting pitchers were Hill versus DeSclafani, Vieto versus Brebbia opening, and then Keller versus Wood. So in game one, the Giants started DeSclafani. He pitched well and elicited the right contact to allow the defense to work behind him. His final line was 7 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. For the lineup, we had Slater in left field. He went 3 for 6 with a home run, and 4 RBIs. Davis was at third. He went 2 for 4 with 2 walks, 2 runs, and 1 RBI. Flores was at first. He went 0 for 3. And then Wade Jr. would come into pinch hit and then play first. He went 1 for 2 with a run. Haniger was in right. He went 3 for 5 with 2 runs and 2 RBIs. Schmidt was at second, and then we'd go over to short. He went 3 for 5 with 2 runs and 2 RBIs. Bailey was catching. He went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 4 RBIs, 1 home run. VR was playing DH, then would go to play second base. He went 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Crawford was at short. He had a 3 for 3 day with a walk, 2 runs, and an RBI. Wisely would come in to play second base. He went 0 for 1, and then he would end up pitching in the ninth because we were winning by that much. And then Johnson was playing center field. He was 0 for 4 with a strikeout, a walk, and 2 runs. So that was 18 hits and 43 at bats with only 3 strikeouts, 4 walks, and 1 home run. So Taylor Rogers was the only actual pitcher to take the mound in relief. He came out for the 8th and had a 1-2-3 inning, getting a pop out, fly out, and a strikeout. Wisely would pitch the ninth with the Giants up by 11. He gave up a home run, then he would get a line out, ground out, and fly out. The Giants offense left 9 on base and went 9 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Crawford, Haniger, Slater, Schmidt, and Bailey all hit doubles. Haniger hit 2 of those. Haniger, Davis, and Slater hit 2 out RBIs, with Slater getting 2. Davis and Johnson stole bases, and the defense turned 2 double plays, and Slater earned an assist. Now, as for the pitcher report, like I said, DeSclafani was starting, and he threw 74 pitches. 35 sliders, 15 changeups, 14 sinkers, 6 four-seamers, and 4 knuckle curves. His changeups averaged 85 on the nose. His four-seamers averaged 92.4. His knuckle curves averaged 82.2. His sinkers averaged 92 on the nose, and his sliders averaged 85.9. As for all that movement, knuckle curves had the most drop and would go away from a righty. His changeups, sinkers, and four-seamers would come into a righty, and the sliders would kind of stay there, with not too much lateral movement, but some drop. Strike zone, it's kind of like a wedge where the short edge is kind of going down and in to up and away from a righty, and then the rest of it, that point is coming to down and away from a righty. He threw 42 pitches in the strike zone, 32 pitches out of the strike zone, and batters swung at 35 of his pitches and took 39. As for the swing and taking, they swung at more of his sinkers and changeups. Excuse me, they took more of his sinkers and his changeups, and they swung at more of his four-seamers, and they swung at more sliders than they took. And they took all of the knuckle curves. And all the knuckle curves were balls. 17 strikes, 26 balls. Of those 17 strikes, 13 were called, 4 were swinging. The 4 swinging 3 sliders, and a sinker. And batters made contact with 31 of his pitches, 6 foul tips, 15 hits for outs, 10 base hits. And that's 2 four-seamers, 1 changeup, and 7 sliders. He had 12 hard hit balls. 5 of them were ground balls, 4 of them were line drives, and 3 of them were fly balls. Behind the dish calling the balls and strikes was Mike Estabrook. He has an overall accuracy of 95% with an overall consistency of 96%, with an overall favor of plus 0.27 runs for Pittsburgh. Of his impactful calls, the first one, bottom of the 7th, Bolton to Bailey, no outs, runner on first, a 2-0 count, a ball is called a strike. Bottom of the 7th, Bolton Johnson, 1 out, runner on first, 2-1 count, strike is called a ball. Bottom of the 7th, Bolton to Schmidt, no outs, runners on second and third, 0-0 count, ball is called a strike. His called ball accuracy, 97%, 3 of 97 called balls were true strikes, and his called strike accuracy was 90%, 4 of 41 called strikes were true balls. And it says here that the average for called strike accuracy is 88%. I don't like that. Oh, well. And honestly, if based on these other pitcher or these other ump scorecards, he was the best performing ump that we had based on called strikes. So that was game 1, 14-4. Good feeling going into the rest of the series. But then game 2, it was a bullpen game for the Giants, which some of these turn really into an opener situation before you let Manaea take the mound. Brebbio came out, only pitching in the first inning, seeing 3 batters. He would get a strikeout in the lineup, but then he'd give up a home run. Kapler decided to pull him and bring in Manaea. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe for these openings like this, Brebbio is only meant to see 3 batters anyway. Or maybe if he gives up a run, pull him, but who knows. Manaea would get a strikeout in the inning. Manaea pitched most innings at 4. He got 3 strikeouts in those 4 innings, but a wild pitch would give the Pirates the go-ahead run, earning him the loss. For our lineup, Wade Jr. was at first. He went 1 for 4 with a walk. Yaz was in center and then would go to play right later. He went 0 for 2 with a strikeout and 2 walks and a run. Davis was at third. He went 0 for 1 with 3 walks. Conforto was in right. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then Johnson would come in to take his spot in the batting lineup and play center, would not get a chance to hit. Haniger was in left. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Sable was DHing. He went 2 for 3 with a walk. Schmidt was playing second, then would go to shortstop. He went 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Bailey was catching, went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Crawford was playing short, went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Then Slater would come in to pinch hit. He went 0 for 1. And then Wisely would come into play second. He would get a chance to hit, and he'd go 0 for 1 with a strikeout. So that's 5 hits and 30 at-bats with 9 strikeouts, 7 walks, and only 1 run and 1 RBI. When you're given that many base runners and you can't scratch them across, that's pretty bad. Manaea's last inning was the 5th, where he got a strikeout, gave up a single where an error by Haniger allowed the runners to advance to second and third, a wild pitch to allow the runner on third to score, the fielder's choice to get the out at home, and then Ryan Walker would come out to get the last out of the 5th. Yet Bailey took care of that himself on a back pick to first off of Walker's first pitch. Walker would come out for the 6th, giving up a leadoff walk, then getting a ground out and a line out. Kapler called for Alexander to get the last out of the 6th via strikeout. Alexander would come back out for the 7th, getting 2 ground outs, then giving up a single. And then Junis would come on for the last out of the 7th via strikeout. Junis would also come out for the 8th, walking the first batter, then getting a ground out and 2 strikeouts. Taylor Rogers came out again, this time for the 9th inning, trying to keep the game to 1 run. To give the offense a chance. He did his job, having a 1-2-3 inning with 3 strikeouts. The offense couldn't even get a base runner in the 9th, going down in order with 2 strikeouts and a flyout. They ended up leaving 9 on base and went 1 for 8 with the runners in scoring position. Wade Jr. hit a double, and Haniger ground into a double play. The defense turned 1 double play, and Haniger earned his first error for the year on fielding. So not an offensively strong game for the Giants there. Like I said, 7 walks and only 1 run. Not the way to do it. Manaea, in his 4 innings, threw 53 pitches, 30 four-seamers, 16 sliders, 5 changeups, 2 sinkers. His changeups, 87.8. His four-seamers, 93.8 on average. His sliders, 80.4 miles an hour on average. The slider had the most drop and would kind of come into a righty. All of his other pitches, the four-seamer, changeup, and sinker would go away from a righty. And as for his distribution across the strike zone, not a lot that's too far away or in. There's some that are in on a righty, but he kind of stayed relatively around the zone this time. He threw 32 pitches in the strike zone, 21 out of the strike zone. Batters would swing at 23 and take 30. They took all of his changeups, and looks like they swung at more sliders than they took. He threw 16 balls and 22 strikes. Of those 22 strikes, 14 were called and 8 were swinging. And the batters made contact on 15 of his pitches, 3 foul tips, 8 hits for outs, and 4 base hits. Those base hits were 3 four-seamers and 1 sinker. Only 3 hard hits. All of them were off fastballs, four-seamers, and that's 1 ground ball and 2 line drives. So Manaea is starting to come around with his performances, especially with this formula that they've got now with Brebbia opening and then bringing Manaea out after the first inning. So calling the balls and strikes, Andy Fletcher, 93% overall accuracy with a 93% overall consistency with an overall favor of plus 1.2 runs for San Francisco. Wow. And we only got the 1 run. That's unfortunate. You hate to see it. But the impactful missed calls, bottom of the 3rd, Oviedo to Davis, 1 out, runner on first, a strike, a 3-2 count. Strike is called a ball. Okay. Top of the 9th, Rogers to Sawinski, no outs, bases empty, 3-2 count. Ball is called a strike. Bottom of the 1st, Oviedo to Yastrzemski, 1 out, bases empty, 3-0 count. Ball is called a strike. His called ball accuracy, 96%. 4 of 114 called balls are true strikes. Okay. Called strike accuracy, 86%. 7 of 51 called strikes are true balls. That's not what you like to see. All right, and on to the pretty rough game to watch. This was a Wood start. His first 2 innings were okay, but then it seemed like Wood started letting his own mistakes get to him in the 3rd, which saw him give up 4 runs. Overall, he went 4.1 innings, giving up 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, and only getting 4 strikeouts. He also hit 2 batters. He also failed to cover bases in certain scenarios. He didn't cover third in one scenario, didn't cover home plate in a scenario. Really just letting his own mistakes and giving up hits affect him and just let him slump on the mound. But we hope that whatever it is that's affecting him, because it seems like maybe it's not just on the field, that it gets worked out like it needs to, and that he'll be okay in the long run. Wade Jr. was at first. He went 2 for 5 with a run. Davis was at third. He went 2 for 4 with a strikeout. Yaz was in center. He went 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a run. Slater would come in a pinch hit and play center field. He went 0 for 1. Flores was DHing. He went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and an RBI. Sable was in left. He went 2 for 4 with a strikeout and 2 runs. Excuse me. Haniger was in right field. He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. Bailey was catching. He went 2 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and an RBI. Schmidt was at short. He went 1 for 3 with a strikeout and an RBI. Wisely was at second. He went 1 for 4 with a strikeout. So that's 12 hits, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk, and only 4 runs. Very inefficient. Ryan Walker would come out in the 5th with 2 on and 1 out. As he was pitching to the first batter he would face, Bailey would catch a runner attempting to steal third. Walker would strike out the batter to end the inning. In the 6th, Walker would give up an infield single, get a sacrifice to advance that runner to second, give up another single, and then get a ground ball to Davis, who would throw to Wisely for the out at second. Wisely would attempt to throw to first for a double play to end the inning, and the ball would get past Wade Jr., allowing the run to score and the runner to advance to second. The next batter doubled, scoring a run. The final out would be via ground out. Luke Jackson. Now, here's a feel-good story. Luke Jackson made his debut this season and was pitching for the first time since the 2021 World Series in the 7th inning. And he got a 1-2-3 inning, a clean inning for him for his first inning back from being gone for that long. And it was a flyout and 2 strikeouts. And that's what you like to see from somebody recovering from Tommy John, somebody that's been gone for that long. To see him come out and have a good clean inning like that with strikeouts, that is a good welcome back to the majors for Luke Jackson. In the 8th, Tyler Rogers would come out, getting 2 strikeouts, giving up a single, then getting a ground out. The final pitcher out of the pen was Duvall. He was trying to keep the deficit at 4 runs. Maybe we can come back with a grand slam. Who knows? But he would give up a single, get a strikeout, get another strikeout. So 1 on, 2 out. But then a base would be stolen. And then an infield single, which would allow the runner to score from second. The final out was a strikeout. The offense would attempt a 5-run comeback with 3 outs left, yet would come up short, striking out, getting a single, and then grounding into a double play to end the game. Overall, the offense left 6 on base, went 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Wade Jr. hit a double. Yaz hit a triple. Flores got a 2-out RBI. Schmidt hit a sac fly and was, by the way, that sac fly went far. It looked like it might have been out, might have hit the top of the wall, but then Reynolds robbed him of a hit. Davis, Wade Jr., and Schmidt ground into double plays. That's too many ground into double plays for one game. The defense would turn 1 double play, and Wisely and Sable each earned errors. Sable also earned an assist. All right, Wood, in those innings that he pitched, 94 pitches, 47 sinkers, 30 sliders, 17 changeups. Changeups average 84.7, sinkers 91.4, and sliders 82.6. Sliders had the most drop. Changeup and sinkers went away from a right-handed batter. Strike zone, kind of all over the place. I mean, like from down and in to down and away to a right-handed batter. So 41 pitches were in the strike zone. 53 were out of the strike zone. Batters would swing at 38 of his pitches and take 56. They took more changeups than they swung at. And it looks like they might have swung at the same amount of sinkers that they took, and they took more sliders than they swung at. 39 balls, 28 strikes, 17 called, and 11 swinging. And they made contact on 27 of his pitches, 12 foul tips, 8 hits for outs, 7 base hits. Those 7 base hits were 2 changeups and 5 sinkers. 6 hard hits, 3 ground balls, 3 line drives from Wood. Rough start for him. Hopefully he bounces back, because when he's good, he's really good, and we just need to get more innings out of him. Eric Bacchus was calling the balls and strikes. His overall accuracy was only 90%. His overall consistency, 91%. And somehow the overall favor is plus 0.41 runs for San Francisco. Impactful missed calls. Bottom of the 6th, Keller to Sable. No outs, bases empty, 2-2 count. Strike is called a ball. Okay. Bottom of the 7th, Zez Strizny to Slater. 1 out, runner on first, 2-1 count. Ball is called a strike. Top of the 1st, Wood to Reynolds. 1 out, bases empty, 1-2 count. Ball is called a strike. Called ball accuracy, 97%. 3 of 91 called balls are 2 strikes. His called strike accuracy, though, 79%. 12 of 58 called strikes were true balls. That is horrendous. That's pretty bad. And I got to admit, some of the strikes he called that I saw yesterday were also pretty bad. But so this series snapped the Giants' series win streak, ending it at 4. The Giants are now at 500, 28 and 28. So it's not the end of the world yet. They're still third in the West. And at the time that I wrote the script for this show, they were 5.5 games back of the first place Dodgers, who were 34 and 23, 5 games back of the second place Diamondbacks, who were 33 and 23, 2.5 games ahead of the Padres at 25 and 30, and 4.5 games ahead of the Rockies at 24 and 33. Now, since then, and I feel I got to share this, the Diamondbacks already beat the Rockies. That was a 4-game sweep. So now the standings in the West, the Diamondbacks are in first place at 34 and 23. The Dodgers are in second at 34 and 23. So they're tied, but the Diamondbacks get the lead. And now we are 5 games back, or 5 games ahead, excuse me, of Colorado. They are now 24 and 34. So that little bit of change up there. We're also now we're out of the wild card. The Diamondbacks still did have that first spot. Now it's that because Diamondbacks and Dodgers are tied, they have the West and they also have that first wild card spot. So one of them, neither here nor there. The next 2 spots, though, that's what's important. When I was writing this, it was Mets Marlins. Now it's Mets and Pittsburgh. So currently, as it sits, the Mets have that second place spot, 30 and 27. And then Pittsburgh has that third place spot, 28 and 27. The Miami Marlins are now 29 and 28. So Miami and Pittsburgh are technically tied for that third place spot with the same winning percentage at 509. But because Miami has played more games, they get dropped, I guess. Or maybe it's a season series. I'm not entirely sure at this moment because I did not look that up. But San Francisco, either way, is half a game back. And the team that's behind them is a game and a half behind San Francisco. And that's the Reds at 26 and 29. So that third spot, it's still pretty much up in the air. And it will be all year, just as every baseball fan knows. As for the Giants and how their May went, here's a plus for everybody to look at. They were 17 and 12 in May. That's a good May. If we can just have more months like that, we'll be fine. As far as interleague, and this is important to look at because we do have an interleague series coming up this weekend, they're 8 and 9. And as for runs scored and runs allowed, 76 and 76. They're also sitting at 5 and 6 in 1-run games. That needs to be leaning more toward the win column. And 1 and 2 in extra inning games. But we all know that. And as far as are we where we should be? Their Pythagorean win-loss, yes, 28 and 28. The Giants have scored at 257 runs and have allowed 254 runs. So we're right where we should be currently. Baseball Reference is giving us a 43.2% chance to make the postseason and a 1% chance to win the World Series. 1%. All right. Coming up, we have the Orioles who are coming into town. And I got to tell you, like, last year was a pretty feel-good story. You know, they missed the playoffs, but everybody was kind of rooting for them. But this year, they're no joke. This is not the feel-good story anymore. These guys are for real. And as it sits, they're 35 and 21. They would have the best record in the NL if they were in the NL. But unfortunately, they're in the AL where the Rays exist. And looking at their Fangraphs roster resource page for their hitting. So this is the team we're going to be facing. They're hitting. They are 15th in average, 12th in on-base percentage, 10th in OPS, 7th in runs, 11th in home runs, and 6th in stolen bases. So real quick, I'm going to pull ours up again so we can see how that compares. So average, they're the team right ahead of us. We're 16th. On base percentage, they're better than us by 5. OPS, they're better than us by 2. Runs, they're better than us by 5. Home runs, we have the advantage there. We're 6th and they're 11th. Stolen bases, not even close. We rank 23rd. All right, so let's look at their starting pitching. And this might be where we have the advantage. And if you go and look on ESPN, they do have us favored to win each game. Starting pitchers, their ERA, they're 21st. Giants are 6th. Starting pitchers for the Orioles whip, they're 19th in the league. Giants are 9th. Orioles starting pitchers, walks per 9. They're 12th in the league. Giants are 4th. Starting pitchers for the Orioles, strikeouts per 9, 19th. Giants are 14th. Hits per 9, Orioles are 22nd. Giants are 21st. And home runs per 9, Orioles are 24th. Giants are 11th. So the starting pitchers take the matchup there. And like I said, that's probably what's helping us out. And the Orioles relief pitchers, they are 6th in ERA. Our relief pitchers are 21st. Their relief pitchers are 17th in whip. Ours are 15th. Their relief pitchers are 16th in walks per 9. Ours are 8th. They're 2nd, though, in strikeouts per 9, with us at 9th. 14th in hits per 9, or 18th. And they're 4th in home runs per 9 for relief pitchers, or 24th. So kind of 50-50 on the relief pitchers. Our bullpen has been doing better throughout the last few series. Let's hope that streak continues. Even with these 2 losses that the Giants just had, the majority of the runs scored were off of the starters. I mean, you look at the last game, 6 earned runs to Wood. So this series will really test the Giants and see if they're for real right now. If they take 2 out of 3, I think it's a very good sign going forward for the rest of the season. Because this is really, at the time that we're playing them, the only team that is this far ahead. All the other teams earlier on in the season, no one's really that far ahead. And then as we moved on, the Astros weren't that great. They were struggling. The Phillies are struggling. The Brewers are the Brewers. They're struggling to maintain their lead up there currently. Only half a game up on the Pirates right now in the Central. So a lot of the teams that we played that are historically could be good, we caught them at the right time. But now, with the Orioles coming to town this weekend, we're catching them when they're still playing good baseball. And we're matching up against the projected starter, Kremer, Bradish, and Wells. So let's look at Kremer. According to Baseball Reference, he is 5-2 with a 4.58 ERA. Bradish is 2-1 with a 3.89 ERA, and Wells is 3-2 with a 3.29 ERA. But it's the hitting. They have 6 of their main 9 hitters that have an OPS plus above 100. Brushman, 140. Frazier, 101. Austin Hayes, 137. Mullins on the 10-day IL, but he's at 131. Santander, 137. O'Hearn, 132. So, and they just signed Aaron Hicks, who since he's been with them, he's had 2 at bats, 2 hits, 2 runs, and 1 walk. So this will be a good series. Orange and black versus orange and black. And I think taking 2 out of 3 will be a very good sign for the rest of the season. Once again, I want to thank everybody for listening. I truly appreciate it. If you have any comments, pointers, tips, corrections, anything, just let me know in the comments on the YouTube page. I appreciate any and all feedback. Once again, references for this: Baseball Reference, Fangraphs, Baseball Savant, Scorecards, ESPN, The Athletic, and NBC Sports Bay Area. So I'll see you after the Orioles series this weekend. Hope everybody has a nice weekend, nice and safe weekend for everyone. Take care.